Hi, this is Ed. Just going to be talking about this particular video here from CNN where they state that they found somebody in a jail cell. This person was supposed to be in a jail cell for 3 months. I'm just going to go over some overview before we watch it. He says he hasn't seen any light, yet there is a light switch. Someone turns it on from outside which lights up his jail. He comes outside into the light, looks directly up at the sky. If you haven't seen light for 3 months or you haven't seen much light, how are you going to look up at the sky? There is other anomalies, including his hands, which you can see here. Look at his fingernails. It's been 3 months. Unless he's really good at biting his nails, and this doesn't look like someone that's just biting these nails. These nails look manicured, as in there's no dark stuff underneath them, or whatever the case is. If you haven't been able to shower or do stuff regularly, these look like well manicured nails, right? This doesn't look like somebody that's been sitting in a cell for 3 months. Without being able to see sunlight. So let's take a look at the video here. And anyway, this is classically CNN, and it has been sped up, but you can basically tell what's happening.
Deep in the belly of the regime's Air Force Intelligence Headquarters,
these are English letters.
We are hoping to find traces of Austin Tice, an American journalist held captive in Syria since 2012. It's one of many secret prisons across the city. This specific branch was tasked with surveillance, arrest, and killing of all regime critics.
These are all cleaned out.
We don't find any hints of Tice, but come across something extraordinary.
I can't tell though, it might just be a blanket, but it's the only cell that's locked. Is he gonna shoot it?
The guard makes us turn the camera off while he shoots the lock off the cell door.
I was going to butt in here and there. Why would you need to shoot the lock off a cell door? And could you do that with a rifle? I didn't see him have a shotgun. So he's going to shoot the lock off the cell door with a rifle? Yeah. Now, think about this. If you're going to this location and expecting to look at cells that are locked, if you're going in there, you're going to have access to bolt cutters. To get into that location, if it's all locked up, you're going to have bolt cutters unless you had all the keys to everything, right? Apparently, the rebels have taken over these locations. Why wouldn't they just have the equipment? Why wouldn't there be just someone standing there with a pair of bolt cutters ready for the inevitable, which is doors or whatever that need to be open, or other devices to open these types of places?
We go in to get a closer look. It's still not clear if there is something under the blanket.
It moved. Is there someone there?
Look how clean the cell is for somewhere that's supposed to be 3 months of activity in there. It looks like the floors have been, water blasted.
Is someone there? Or is it just a blanket? I don't know.
There's a little thing that I just want to reference here. Now, they said, is anyone there? Remember, when they come in, they say, is anyone there? They're turning on the light, right? There's a light in the cell, right? The light switch might be outside the cell, but there's a light inside the cell, right? Also note that if you're looking at how dark it is in there, that specific level of darkness means that there's a window up there. There has to be a window in order to let light into that place without the light switch. Otherwise, it would be vastly more darker than that. Anybody that knows who's gone to some abandoned locations or the bottom of abandoned hospitals or whatever where you shouldn't be knows that it's pitch black in locations that do not have windows. There would have to be some type of light source in that room, which would have to be sunlight, in order to give that, that level of light within that room, right? It's not pitch black, and that light is not just coming through the door. If it was, you'd see the splash of light coming in through the door, and that room would also be dim and dark, right, with the light coming in through the door. But this light is basically leveled out throughout the room, which points to some kind of window above. Let's rewind it here, and you can keep watching.
Not clear if there is something under the blanket.
It moved. Is there someone there? Is someone there? Or is it just a blanket? I don't know. Hello? Okay, I just yeah. Oh.
I'm a civilian, he says. I'm a civilian.
Look at the door, right? I'm just saying in the narrative. You look at the door, look at the amount of light coming in through that door, right? That door is basically looking out on a sunlit area. So there's sunlight coming in through that particular window. And I'm not defending a Syrian jail or whatever. And we just want to know the truth. We don't want artificially constructed propaganda poured out like this. And plus, this is bad propaganda. As I said many times, the best propaganda, well, Russia did pretty sophisticated propaganda in the Ukraine at times when they would come into a village and they'd hand out bread and groceries and things of that nature to all the people that would line up, and they'd be taking them, and they'd go to the old babushka lady and they'd give her some bread, and the soldiers would hand. I mean, that's pretty good propaganda. These people need to actually go and go to some kind of course in propaganda, right? They need to go to some course in it. Like, they need to actually learn it, because this is just like comes across as so plastic and artificial. Am I framed by CNN's past activities? Yes, of course. But anyway, there's no sunlight in the jail. There's actually a window above, as you can see, all this light coming in through the door, through the bars of the door, and he's acting like he's never seen light before. Okay, let's rewind.
Okay, you're okay. You're okay. You're okay. You're okay. He clutches my arm tightly with both hands. Okay. Does anyone have any water?
No light. Look above the door. There's another window up there. Right? There's a glass, reinforced glass window with metal reinforcement in it.
Mike. Okay, it's water. It's water. Okay. Okay, you're okay. You're okay. You're okay. We start to walk him outside. Thank God you are safe. Don't be afraid, the fighter says. You are free.
Note that all of the windows above the cells, they're all the same.
This is the third prison they brought me to, he says. The third prison. After 3 months in a windowless cell.
Now, remember that, what she just said. After 3 months in a windowless cell. Well, we already know there's a window on the door. We already know that above that there's another window with reinforcement in it. So she's lying. We already know it's not even the light coming from there, because if you look carefully at the video, when they come into the room, there's already light. It's kind of like a diffusement over the room, like a good spread of light over the room. It's not pitch black, right? And when you see them come around, you'll see shadows fall over the person, which will slightly move as they're in front when they're talking about someone being underneath the blankets. That's not because someone's holding a quasi flashlight on the right coming through the door now. That's because above them, behind them, there's another light source, which is coming down, reflecting the shadows on the bed sheets when they're moving around. So there we got one source of light behind them, then we've got one over top of the door, then we've got one in the bars themselves. But of course, this is supposed to represent solitary confinement, right, with no light. If you want to know what that's like, head over and find out how those Jan 6s have been living. They've been living in solitary confinement. So this is him coming out. So
stay with me, stay with me, he repeats again and again. For 3 months I didn't know anything about my family. I didn't hear anything about my children. The fighter hands him something to eat. He barely lift it to his mouth.
Okay.
now, look, I'm just saying, right? Look at his clothing. It doesn't look like clothing that you've sweated in and you haven't washed or bathed in for 3 months, right? He's got a jacket. He's got these kinds of things. He's got blue jeans. There's not any kind of markings on the front or around the knees of the blue jeans, or places where there would be constant wear from laying down or moving about if this was his only source of clothing. Of course, he hasn't said that's his only source of clothing, but there's all these kinds of things. It's convenient that he's got this coat on, right? It might be cold in there, but it is convenient that the coat is on him. And you can't see an emaciated frame, although you'd be able to tell that from his face. it would look like he's heavily emaciated. But then again, of course, I don't know how heavy he was when he went in there. 3 months you can afford to lose basically off your body over 3 months just doing normal activity. Your body can survive by eating approximately about 40 to 50 pounds worth of mass off your body. So you need that, an equivalent, to come out looking semi-normal.
His body can't handle it. Okay, you're okay. His captors fled during the fall of Damascus, leaving him with no food or water. That was at least 4 days ago.
Next narrative, he's had no food or water for 4 days. Maybe that's true. Okay, these are my speculations, but there's a lot of oddities.
I'm shaking. My face is shaking, he says. The rebel tells him there's no more army, no more prisons, no more checkpoints. Are you serious, he says? Surya Harra. Syria is free, he tells him. It's the first time he has heard those words. He tells us his name is Adil Khurbal, and that officers from the much-feared Mukhabarat intelligence services took him from his home and began interrogating him about his phone. They brought me here to Damascus. They asked me about names of terrorists.
Okay, so you have to judge for yourselves. I just point out some oddities to me. You know, the fingernails thing, for example. Maybe they gave him manicures in jail. The whole thing about the sunlight, etc. And here's what you're dealing with when you're dealing with CNN. Let's go take a look at a classic. This is CNN in the Persian Gulf.
A couple of explosions, what may have been an outgoing Patriot ground-to-air missile, some reported airbursts that may have been an intercept of an incoming Scud missile. We're really not sure. All we know is that the air raid sirens have gone off, and we've heard the outgoing roar of at least one Patriot missile. We've heard some sort of airburst. We can't tell where it was from where we are right now. We're waiting to see what's happening. As you can hear, the air...
Okay, so let's just fast forward to this. This is him on camera, right? This is him broadcasting back to CNN.
CD, if you need to take cover, I notice that you've got your gas mask in your hands. If you need to put it on, please do so. If you need to take cover, please do so. If you are able to take a question, did you think that the possible threat would be over because it is now morning there? It's what, just after 6 o'clock in the morning?
The whole thing is everyone assumed that the threat would be over because it was early morning. But the thing about Saddam Hussein is that he has never done the expected. And
so there you keep on going, right? So here's the next bit at the end of this. Is great. This is classic CNN.
Another city in Saudi Arabia. CNN's Carl Rochelle is here with me. Just came up. Carl, I know we can't be very specific given these restrictions, but within those parameters, what did you see?
Well, what I saw, I didn't see anything hit. I looked almost straight above us. There was a vapor trail coming from my right to my left, and there's a cloud.
Now you can tell this is a set, right? Here they are putting on their helmets. Like, this is just so, like, bad. The classic Gulf War clip. Does this look like normal light? Or does that look like studio lighting? That is 100% studio lighting.
100 yards, you hyperventilate a little bit, and you're nervous.
One thing we have to point out, just so people won't think people are panicking, most people are in their shelters. They've taken cover in their shelters. And in the time we've been in Saudi Arabia, I've not seen any evidence of panic in the streets or people running around. People are not exactly taking this as a matter of...
Anyway, that's it for today's video. What do you think? What do you think's happening?
Deep in the belly of the regime's Air Force Intelligence Headquarters, these are English letters, we are hoping to find traces of Austin Tice, an American journalist held captive in Syria since 2012.
Well, there you are anyway. Stay safe. I'll see you all later.